Hey everybody, Marcos Villegas here, being joined with Virgil Hunter, where this weekend Andre Ward will be rematching Sergey Kovalev on pay-per-view here at the Mandalay Bay. Virgil, first off, thank you for joining us. It's good seeing you as always. You know, what's really, you feel, in your opinion, going to make the biggest difference in this fight compared to the first fight?
I expect a better fight because both fighters are motivated. Kovalev and the way he motivates himself, and Andre in the way he's motivated. So I expect another great fight and a tough fight.
In terms of how the fight will play out and the approach to this rematch compared to the first, what differences are there and what can you tell us in terms of that?
Well, it's simple. Both fighters know each other. So when you know each other, there's some things you're going to be familiar with right away. And then, you know, whatever the fighters worked on for the second fight, you know, you'll look for that. But inevitably, if it becomes a tough fight, each guy will pretty much revert back to what he does without thinking, you know. So I expect that to happen. You might see some differences in Kovalev, you might see some differences in Dre. But I think it boils down, again, to desire and conditioning and who's able to adapt.
In terms of the approach to the rematch, I know Andre has just a great boxing IQ, and that's one of the advantages he's had over a lot of his opponents, is not only the skills that he has, but he's able to process information in there and make adjustments on the fly. Given that, coming into this rematch, it's been labeled as a 50-50 fight. But you seeing that and knowing that about Andre, do you guys still see it as a 50-50 fight, or do you feel because he's already had 12 rounds of process, Sergey, it's not really a 50-50 fight in terms of you guys?
Well, I'm a realist. You have to look at it as a 50-50 fight based on the last one and the fact that they haven't fought the second one yet. After this fight is over, we'll give the true answer. Was it a 50-50 fight or a 60-40 fight or a 70-30 fight? But right now it would be difficult to speculate, so based on how close the fight was, that's where you have to draw the line and make your comparisons. So 50-50 is safer to say now than it was the first time.
I know Dre doesn't want to start out the fight this time around like he did it in the first fight. He had some difficulties, got knocked down, and then was a little slow in there, not using his legs a lot. How do you avoid that from happening? How do you want him to have a good start this first time around and not have what happened in the first fight, in those first early rounds, happen again this time?
Well, you know, I let the cat out the bag today. We don't make excuses. We never have, but since all the excuses have been coming to the other side, you know, I just told the fact. The fact was we weren't even able to run for the first fight because of his knee flaring up. He had a situation, and we didn't want the fight to be canceled or reschedule. We felt obligated to fulfill the date, so we had to go through other measures for his cardio, but it doesn't replace running. And you know, thank God that after the fight we found the right specialists who had treated a number of great athletes with knee situations that were way worse than his, and brought him around. And he was confident enough to say after he saw his MRIs that your knee is sound, but there's a sac there. We didn't ever know that's causing you to swell if you pound, and I'm going to drain it and I'm going to treat it in a way, and that's what he did. And as a result of that, we were able to run with no complications. He hasn't had one problem with the knee. So you're right, we didn't have the legs we wanted for the first fight. He was sort of compromised there. We had to fight from the waist up, but we knew it. And so when you know it, you can do certain things to make some adjustments. But as far as him in and out and over and some of the things that he does, he wasn't able to do it. He's able to do it now. That doesn't mean it's going to make a huge difference in the sense of Kovalev's things that he comes up and utilizes, but we do know that we're much more physically prepared than we were last time.
In terms of Kovalev and the skills he showed, were you, I don't want to say surprised or impressed, or in any way was he a lot better than you thought he would be in there, or do you feel he is what you were thinking and he showed that in the fight?
Well, I said time and time again, I'm a Sergey Kovalev fan, just not for this fight. But, you know, watching him when he first showed up on the scene, I think with Cornelius White, I was impressed by his skills. No, his skills are legit. They're real skills. You don't come through that Russian system and everything without having that skill set. When you have 250 amateur fights, 300, that pedigree is there. So his skills are not a figment of someone's imagination. They're legit. So we weren't surprised at all. You know, there are some things that a fighter does that can surprise you. But, you know, we adjusted to what we needed to do. It took a couple of rounds to make the adjustment, but we made the adjustment.
In terms of the build-up to the fight, I know there's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of stuff been said from Sergey's part. What do you and the team make of Sergey with the comments he's made on social media as him personally, Virgil?
You know what, Marcus, I'll tell you, if I won't answer that to anybody who hasn't addressed it, any media person who hasn't addressed it and wrote an article about it and, you know, put it out there. I don't want them, you know, fight week to ask me what do I think, because what you want me to do is give you the answers on something that you should address if you're a responsible media person. But to get to you on what you asked me, it appears that's just who he is. I don't think it's an excuse for it, because I think he went through an ordeal like that once before. So it's just a reflection on his character, and so far he's gotten a pass because you know, people feed off of that. If you listen to the HBO people, they love to talk about the sinister smile and the mean, and oh, that's just who he is, you know. But if Angel Garcia does it, that same media calls for an uproar and say he don't deserve to work the corner. Or I believe Broner, after a fight, said something, and all of a sudden he should be suspended. And they weren't anywhere near the magnitude of, you know, what Kovalev has projected, but he gets a pass. And I think part of the reason why he makes the excuses and complains and does what he does, he's always gotten a pass for his behavior. And he's always, you know, people have turned and looked the other way and made excuses or just chose not to address it at all. And in this case, we understand, because Andre is articulate, carries himself the way he's supposed to carry himself. He's not going to come and play the buffoon role that most African-American fighters have to play to get attention. He's not going to be that. You know, he's a proud man, he's a sure man, a family man. Anybody who would have a daughter would approve of him as a husband. He was married at 18 years old, still married with 4 kids. And sometimes, you know, going through the litigation for what he felt was right, he was just portrayed as somebody who was arrogant. Because I'm smart, I'm arrogant. You know, he was portrayed as ungrateful, because I'm going to what I feel is rightful to me. I'm ungrateful. You're not in my shoes. You don't really know my case. And we've never even put the whole thing out there, because there's no need in hurting somebody's family with the truth, and they're not here. So we never put everything out there. That's just who we are. And, you know, just let bygones be bygones. It worked out in the right way. But, again, the media has this thing that, you know, if a fighter makes it, it's because of who was promoting him. And that's the first thing from the truth. He has to win first.
In terms of the whole John David Jackson situation, how'd you react to when that came about? And it must have, I don't know, got you off guard, right? Like, oh, wait a second, you know, what's going on here? Like, what was your initial reaction to all that?
You know, that whole thing will be addressed tomorrow at the press conference. The only thing I'll say about that right now is I'm surprised he even said what he said in response to that, because there's just too much evidence, which would be, you know, let out tomorrow at the press conference. Me personally, and I knew, I didn't want to mess with his money. I don't think that's right. So I wasn't going to put it out there on him like that, but I know the whole truth behind it. I think you interviewed him, if I'm not mistaken, and you saw him stuttering and and the reasons why, and even his reasons why, incriminated him as far as, you have to give me 40. And I saw you entertained this, right? If you were serious about your father, you would have said, man, go to hell. What you calling me about that for? Or why would we call you? We didn't need you, we won. Why would we call you? And say, hey, all of a sudden, where would we have the information or to know about whereabouts and know about to say, hey, man, Jackson not happy, maybe we can get him. No, we knew you weren't happy because you let us know you weren't happy. So that'll take care of itself tomorrow.
Giving us a little, a little for you guys to watch tomorrow. The press conference is tomorrow. Virgil, when the fight happens on Saturday and we're all back here at the end of the fight, what do you think is going to be like the real thing that everybody's going to write about it and the real story about the fight? Do you feel?
I can't say, Mark. That's taking me past the moment, and I'd be a foolish man just to even speak on it because it's the figment of my imagination. I'm imagining how it'd go, and I want it to go, and I can't afford to live in that fairyland type of thinking process right now. I have to live in the real world, and the real world is that we fight 3 days from now, and however the outcome is, win or lose, I'm proud of Andre Ward, my godson that came up under me at 9 years old, and all his accomplishments, and I don't think he can be denied a Hall of Fame ballot. All the great ones lost a fight, so he and Sergey Kovalev are even if we lose. And there's always a third fight, even though there's not a rematch clause. There's where's he gonna make the money?
With that said, Virgil, how close is Andre, you feel, to being like, you know what, I reached all my goals, I did everything that I wanted to do, I exceeded my goals. You know what, I think I'm good. Do you see that coming close, or do you see that maybe it's at all something that could happen very, very soon?
Physically, I haven't seen it yet. I know some people, but they didn't know what was going on. But I've always encouraged him to get out when you're on top. A lot of people don't think that's possible, but he's been very smart and very disciplined about his money, and he's set for life. So I'd like to see him get out on top. If I had to twist my own arm, I'd say maybe a couple more fights after this, and I'll encourage him. Why fight anymore, So time will tell. He just turned 33. He has no wear and tear from boxing.
Which is an amazing thing.
Yeah. So it's just light heavyweight. Bigger men last a little longer. So I think maybe we'll make a run for a heavyweight shot, and see how that turns out, and then maybe step down from there.